Hello, I'm Steve Saul. Welcome to North West Today. The headlines this Friday lunchtime. 4 people are arrested for murder after a suspected hit and run near Preston. We're in Liverpool, where England have made it to the Netball World Cup semi-final. And 50 years of Man on the Moon, how Jodrell Banks been watching our exploits in space. Police investigating the murder of a man in Kirkham in a suspected hit and run are appealing for witnesses to get in touch. It happened on Freckleton Street just after 4 o'clock yesterday. The man in his 40s was pronounced dead at the scene. Well, Becky Barr is live there for us this lunchtime. Becky.
Thanks, Steve. Well, police were called here in Kirkham at about 4:15 yesterday afternoon to this scene of Freckleton Street, just outside the town centre, to find an incident where there appears to have been a collision between a car and a man. Now, the 4 occupants of the vehicle fled in that car shortly after the incident, and a man believed to be in his 40s sadly was pronounced dead at the scene here yesterday afternoon. His next of kin have been informed, and just recently he has been named locally as Andrew Dean from Wesham, very nearby.
And Becky, some arrests have been made. Can you tell us any more about those, please?
That's right. Well, these arrests were made shortly after the incident, when the occupants of the car had left the scene. A short time later, police stopped a Nissan Micra on the M61 between junctions 6 and 5 and arrested the 4 occupants of that vehicle on suspicion of murder. There was an 18-year-old man, an 18-year-old woman and 2 girls aged 16 and 17 in the car. They remain in police custody for questioning, and inquiries are very much ongoing according to police, and they are very keen to speak to anyone who may have information or witnesses to this incident. Back to you.
OK, Becky, thanks very much indeed. Now, there's anger today after a huge pile of rubbish was fly-tipped near a cycle path in Stockport. It happened at the entrance to the Fallowfield Loop cycleway off Station Road in Reddish. Residents are calling on Stockport Council to put up bollards to stop further tipping. We've asked Stockport Council for a comment. The Ministry of Defence has confirmed that nearly £2 billion worth of funding to develop the Tempest aircraft, which will replace the Eurofighter Typhoon. The money means a boost for workers at BAE Systems in Wharton and Samlesbury. They'll work in partnership with the Swedish firm Saab to develop the fighter jet.
So this is a significant investment. We're investing £1.9 billion into the initial stages of this, so that we can make sure that we retain the skills we need in the UK to develop whatever that future combat system will be.
Now, some good news today. England have booked their place against New Zealand in the Netball World Cup semi-finals in Liverpool. That game takes place tomorrow. Now, today, though, it's the turn of the celebrities to take to the court in aid of sports relief. That game takes place later this evening. Well, our reporter Mairead Smith's at Liverpool for us this lunchtime.
Good afternoon. You join me courtside from the M&S Bank Arena in Liverpool. This is where the Netball World Cup has been happening all week. Behind me you can see Fiji and Samoa in action. This is their last game of the tournament. With me this afternoon is Lindsay Impet, the tournament director. How pleased are you with how things have gone so far?
This tournament, it has absolutely exceeded all our expectations. We had high hopes for the tournament, for the number of people that would be coming through the doors and the enjoyment that they would have here. We've had some really close matches, we've had a couple of draws, and then yesterday Australia beat New Zealand by 1 goal right at the end of the match. The coverage has been great. Everybody is very excited about the tournament.
Tonight's match is a celebrity game, and that's in aid of sport relief. Why did you want to include that game in this tournament?
I think it's really important for major events where the profile of a sport has been lifted to be able to support charities and support raise the awareness of something as fundamentally important as sport relief. Also, there's netball development projects through sport relief, so we were able to actually link our sport to some of the work that sport relief are doing, and it's great to have celebrities playing out on our fantastic world-class netball court and really enjoying themselves, and it brings a bit of extra fun and a bit of extra entertainment to the event as well.
Well, there is plenty of fun happening here today. Let's hope that the England Roses can bloom for their semi-final against New Zealand tomorrow and perhaps book a place in the final of the Netball World Cup on Sunday. Back to you.
Good luck, it's going to be exciting. Now, Southport golfer Tommy Fleetwood's tied for the lead after the second round of the Open Championship in Northern Ireland. Fleetwood carded a second round 67 to sit at 7 under par. Now, 50 years ago today, Apollo 11 entered the moon's orbit. It was the day before its astronauts Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin and Michael Collins became the first people ever to travel to the moon and back. Over the years, the Lovell telescope at Jodrell Bank has been tracking mankind's adventures in space. Well, our reporter Jane McCubbin's got this extraordinary story of how we got our first close-up of the moon.
The space race was really a battle. East versus West.
It was about whose political system was going to win out. Was it communism or capitalism? And a lot of it focused on this race to the moon and the winner takes all.
But for the scientists here at Jodrell Bank, it is only ever about the science. And for Terry Pattinson, a cub reporter in Manchester with a passion for astronomy, it is the biggest story he will ever work on.
That was me, 1966, World Cup year, the year I got married, the year of my big scoop.
On February the 3rd, 1966, the space race is well underway with Russia well in the lead as the Lovell telescope tracks their Luna 9 capsule landing safely on the moon.
If you can imagine the people in this room with the telescope behind us pointed at the moon and coming through the telescope are the signals arriving from a spacecraft, and it sounds this sort of weird sort of noise.
23-year-old Terry begs his editor to go to the late-night press conference at Jodrell Bank. There, Sir Bernard Lovell tells him the source of that strange signal, a machine already used by newspapers to wire photographs.
I said, if we had our equipment here at Jodrell Bank, could we take the pictures? He said, oh yes. I was amazed when I heard that. What? I said,
You were on the phone to your editor?
straight away.
They got one of these things from the Daily Express, they plugged it into the back of the telescope, and out came the very first picture ever sent from the surface of the moon.
Can you imagine?
The big headline was the next day, the Express catches the moon.
Fantastic.
And just before I drove away, I stopped at this very spot and looked up at the telescope. You can imagine it's very emotional for me to do that. But I knew that history was being made and that man would soon be on the moon.
Terry, of course, was right. And by 1969, America is back in the lead. But Jodrell Bank's telescopes know just how close it is.
As it turned out, the Americans were successful, and we tracked the Soviet spacecraft as it crashed into the side of the lunar mountain, moving at hundreds of miles an hour.
Wow.
But it could have easily been the other way around.
The race is won. But the race is insignificant to scientists at Jodrell Bank. So when Russia asks to share their data, they oblige. Because then, as now, the only thing of any importance is finding the answers to the biggest questions.
What a great story and what a scoop for that journalist. Now, the Royal Lancashire Show got underway today. Thousands of people are expected over the next few days in Ribchester. Let's hope the weather's going to improve. Let's get the forecast from Rich Davies.
Hello, good afternoon. We're going to see a bit more in the way of some wet weather through the rest of today. There could be the odd break though, maybe some sunshine around, but it does look like it's going to be a pretty rainy afternoon and evening with temperatures up at 22 degrees Celsius. Now, as we go into tonight, there's a chance a few more pulses of that rain could be thundery at times. We're likely to see some wet weather as we head towards the early hours of tomorrow morning. The temperature's not really falling off too much, down to 14 or 15 degrees Celsius. So a mild start to things through tomorrow. Some showers to start the day and gradually they'll begin to clear away. We should see some drier and brighter conditions through the afternoon. So plenty of sunshine through Saturday eventually, but with temperatures at 20 degrees Celsius, it will still feel fairly warm.
So we're just going to get through this weekend and hopefully it should be a bit better then. That's it from me and the Lunchtime team. Have a good afternoon. Roger and Annabelle will be back here at 6:30 here on BBC One. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.